So what would you tell any teen moms out there? Or before we get into that, I want to ask you, is there anything that you probably would do different in your younger years with being a teen mom? Is there anything that you feel like you would have not done, could have taken away, could have added? What are your thoughts on that?
Nothing back. Honestly, I would just, ask God if he could just spare my daughter, that's the only thing. But even that, I trust God for the process, but that I wouldn't trade it for nothing, because it seemed like, I probably went through a lot, but I had an amazing life as a teenager. I mean, again, my stories will come out why it was so amazing, but I wasn't, I was driving to school in a Volvo, brand new white Volvo. I can remember to this day, thank God for my memory. I had a parking pass downtown Brooklyn where some days I would drive y'all to school, your sisters to school. And some days if I just felt like getting on the train, I had people, meet me at the train station. My friends actually met me at the train stations to help me with my kids going to school. And some days I drove, if you know anything about New York, driving from Brooklyn to downtown Brooklyn, it's just like downtown Brooklyn. It's just like, it's a lot of traffic. So I had options. Like I wasn't a broke, what I would say, teen mom. And I'll get into that another time. And I know some teen moms out here suffering. You are not as fortunate to do those things that I had the opportunity to do. But I'm here to tell you, even though your situation was different, I'm talking about the mental keep going. It doesn't matter what you had or don't have. I'm here to tell my teen moms to just keep going. And all of the things will come. But I was fortunate so I had a good time. I mean, like I can think about my high school, how you go on your high school trips and proms and stuff like that. Well, in New York, we went on trips. And so we went to Coney Island, my high school class. Do you know my whole class came to pick me up at my house on Herkimer Street? Me and your dad, we went to my, they was like, you're going. They was like, I know you got a baby. You saying you ain't going. We're going to come help you with the baby. They put the strollers, like they really was like, you're going to have this moment. You go to school every day. You're going to have fun with us too. Yeah. So my high school class, they were so supportive. Your dad was so supportive. Like we had a good time that night. And they was like, they wanted me to have a good time more than them. So they was like, don't worry about the kids. We got the strollers. We where the food at? They was like, they was like me, and they wanted me and your dad. We left the babies with them, and we enjoyed Coney Island. You feel what I'm saying? Right.
That's the fun that you had with your classmates. That's dope. That's support.
I went to my prom. Me and your dad, we got king and queen of the prom. I told my teachers, I said, y'all is giving me this stuff just because I have kids and I did it. Because they was, what my teacher said? Yes, because you got people who haven't had any children and they're dropped out of school.
Done. Not making no effort, no commitment.
None. And so they was like, you are going to win everything. They told me, they said, if you show up, it's yours. Wow. Me and your dad showed up to prom, honey, and they crowned me prom queen, and they promed your dad king, and he wasn't even in. He had already graduated.
Oh, wow!
But because they knew I was married to him, they didn't want to pair me with somebody else. You see what I'm saying? That's how much respect Sarah J. Hill High School had for me. Okay, so people have loved me and rocked with me all my life, and I couldn't. How could I fail with a team like that?
Absolutely. I think the school system is nowhere like that now.
Oh, I didn't know it was like that then.
I hope somebody's listening to these stories and trying to get this type of support in these schools, because there are people who are in high school and in college pregnant, and they need this type of support. They need this type of love, even if it's they don't have, systems in place, daycare, like that. At least you probably can get a phone call or email, or just get thought of at how your teachers thought of you. And that's remarkable. I'm glad that you had that support growing up, because I know some people, and some people with kids in high school, they don't finish. They finish on their own terms.
And I know they don't. And a lot in my class didn't finish. And it's crazy because at the prom, I said, now, y'all giving me prom. I said, y'all just doing this. All the students had to vote. They voted for us. They was like, we want you to win. You know what I mean? Like, they was going around. It was like a certain few was just going around the room like, you better vote for her. You better vote for them. You know what I mean? Like, so they was bullying people to vote. Well, my dad told me, he was like, I don't care what you do. You better give me my diploma. So I was so happy when I walked across the stage for Sarah J. Hale graduation with my cap and gown on, my husband in the audience, my mom, my dad, and my kids. I got off that stage, and you know how you're supposed to go sit back down with your class? I gave my dad his diploma.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And baby, it was up from there. It was up from there. Okay. It was up from there. So your dad know who I am. Everybody in the world that has ever came in contact with me when I was a younger woman, they know who I am. I still have my childhood friend, Melinda, a few others that I went to Sarah J. Hale High School with. I mean, they see me, they can vouch for these stories. My life got a little complicated around about 27, between 27 and 37. That's when, life really hit, and you all were growing up, and, I was, dating and just trying to find myself. But like I said, we ain't going to get into that. But what I want to get into is how I came from that teen mom to a boss mom.
Right.
So how I bossed up, the beginning journey, of course, graduating from high school was the first boss up. Went to, again, what I was saying on my last video, maxing out the welfare system was allowed me to go 2 years of business school. So I do have associates in business from Manhattan in New York. Before I moved to South Carolina, I did that. And I did that because I can't, there's nothing else I wanted to do was business, but business, so why not go to school and learn something about business? Promises I told your sister that's not here, thinking about how I didn't want to be a statistic. All of that pushed me to be a boss, because I felt like from watching my dad, bosses have it going on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you a boss, man, from what I used to see with my dad was one cool dude, okay? So my thing is, I just need to get to that boss status. You know what I mean? Like, so I was hungry.
Yeah.
I was hungry,
Yeah.
And so, like I saw the steps of him being a boss. And I said, man, I want to take them steps. Some people want to get the inheritance. No, I wanted to learn the steps. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And
I think it is, for kids to, be in that, for those who want to be in business, to go from that teen mom to boss mom, how important it is to have someone that you potentially look up. It may not be mother, father, but to have that mentor where you can see the boss life and actually
know it's real. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to tell everyone, I have a mentor. I have mentors. And what I look for in my mentors are their real life. I go see what their husband doing. I go look at what their sons and kids doing, and I see that it's for real. I follow them to see that it's not fake, because some people, they're living these social media lives. And then it's so heartbreaking. When people find out the truth, they're so heartbroken. You can save yourself in the beginning. You can Google anybody. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, follow real life people. There's people in your community that can be a role model to you. For me, as a young girl, the women in church inspired me. I didn't have like kids today got Cardi B and Beyonce. I had the women at my church.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? And they was Holy Ghost filled and fabulous, driving nice cars, coming in there with furs. Honey, my church was BET, okay?
Right.
So I was trying to be like church ladies.
That's true.
I wanted to be like Emma Peterson. I wanted to be like Charles Steve Richardson. I wanted to be like my brother godmother Lula Blake. Lula Blake wore 4-inch heels before I knew what 4-inch heels was. I knew they because of Sister Lula Blake.
From the church, yes.
From the church.
In the community.
And I mean, she wore them heels every time she stepped foot in the church. And they was in the church like 4 days a week.
Right.
That was her life. Listen. So I followed the women in the church. And I really do believe that having that covering from the Lord is why I can freely sit here and tell my stories, because now they're testimonies. And that's why my slogan is, let it be your testimony. Let all the trials, let all the tribulations, let all the shortcomings, let all the hurt, the pain, all of it, turn it around and let it be your testimony. And that's my life, because when people thought I was that teen mom who wasn't going to be nothing with them little kids and yada, 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 whatever they said, I said one day I'm going to let it be my testimony.